How's it going, guys? My name is Zach with the Movie Castle, and today we're going to be taking a look at Children of the Corn 4, The Gathering. This came out in 1996, was directed by Greg Spence, and stars Naomi Watts, Brent Jennings, Renee Smith, Windom, and Karen Black. And I have to say, just overall, Children of the Corn 4 is alright. It was the last movie, part 3, when the series started to go direct to video, I believe. But this one, much more than part 3, really does feel like a direct to video horror movie. A little bit smaller scale, a little bit random. You know, you get all those dream sequence scares, cheesy, flashy edits, and not great continuity with past entries of the series. Not to mention some major plot structure problems. But that being said, it's not terrible, and I found myself having a fair bit of fun with it. Obviously, Naomi Watts and Karen Black are great actresses, they're really cool in here, and the family dynamic led to some good character moments. And again, while not the best thing ever, this whole, direct-to-video feel that it has, I don't know, I kinda like it. It's a little bit nostalgic for me. The direct-to-video of the mid-90s to the mid-2000s really did have its own unique feel, and I don't really mind it. I also like that this one definitely has its own story to tell, with its own unique ideas and its own lore, and this one justifies its existence way better than Children of the Corn 2 did. Again, far from perfect, but a fun little direct-to-video movie. And hey, Naomi Watts and Karen Black show up, that's super cool. But that being said, I do want to go over what works and doesn't in this movie, so let's talk a little bit about the plot. Now, I'm not going to do any major spoilers, so I'll be avoiding a lot of the end bits, and focusing primarily on this movie's setup. But without further ado, let's take a bit of a deeper dive. We open up with Naomi Watts returning to her hometown, a small town in the middle of nowhere that of course grows corn. But she had been away at college. She's studying medicine and she dreams of being a doctor in the big city. But she has to take a semester off because of her mother. Her mother is older and not doing well. She's agoraphobic, so she never leaves the property. There's this cool visual of her sidewalk ending and she never goes beyond that point. But she's also starting to kind of lose it. She has this really bad reoccurring nightmare of being attacked by a corn child. We'll get into that more in a minute. But all that being said, Naomi Watts has come back to take care of her and kind of manage the house for a little bit. She has 2 siblings that are significantly younger than her, a boy and a girl, and because of the age gap, she does actually wind up acting more like a mother to these kids, and she wants to make sure they're looked after as well. Again, a pretty nice family relationship, and the whole idea of I'm going back to my old hometown, and they're trying to pull me in and keep me there, and maybe I should. But you know the drill, I have all these dreams and stuff. Well, since she's back home and does need a source of money, she gets her old high school job back of being a nurse with Doc Roy. He runs a small doctor's office in this little town, and overall it would be peaceful work, but wouldn't you know it, shortly after she gets there, a bunch of kids start getting sick. And this is one of the movie's bigger, more unique ideas. This sort of mysterious pandemic. What's wrong with the children? Why is this happening to all of them? Are my kids' siblings at home gonna be okay? And overall, I would like this sort of medical mystery with a supernatural twist. That could have been really fun. There could have been something there. Sadly, though, it does get put to the background a little bit. We get the big pandemic sequence, we get all the kids running high temperatures at once and then trying to put them in an ice bath. But then the medical mystery kind of takes a little bit of a back seat after that. It does pop up again and again, but you really shouldn't have taken that pause. It really should have been bigger and bigger. But the movie's got to juggle several things, and the Children of the Corn can't stay in the hospital the whole time. Too bad, though. I mean, imagine if this was a bigger hospital and they were running around it. Whatever. As I said, we do get Children of the Corn stuff. The kids start to behave strangely after they've been sick, and they'll get up to their own shenanigans, and we have the new cult leader here, this mysterious figure that kind of comes in out of nowhere named Josiah. But here's sort of the thing with Josiah. He's very much his own entity and not really related to the rest of the Children of the Corn. I mean, this is a Children of the Corn movie, but we don't reference Gatlin or He Who Walks Behind the Corn Rows. Josiah is essentially just a random ghost whose imagery happens to mirror the Children of the Corn, so this kind of makes the movie feel a bit like a side story. And I also want to say, the kids getting sick and becoming Children of the Corn, I guess I get that, especially with Josiah being its own thing. So as long as it's just for this movie. As for the other movies, I find it much more creepy when the children aren't forced into it, but they're sort of won over. The predatory influence coming at them and sort of like manipulating them with words until they buy into it out of their own volition, that's just deeper and scarier. So Josiah, go off and do your own thing, but let's not incorporate this idea into the larger franchise. But that being said, the movie's biggest fault has to be with its plot structure. It kind of feels like it may have suffered from a few too many rewrites. I don't know the exact scenario. But basically you have three elements fighting with each other. The Karen Black family drama part, the pandemic part, and then Josiah and his cheesy direct-to-video horror movie shenanigans. I already talked about how the pandemic kind of faded into the background, but honestly so does Karen Black as well. Towards the end of the movie she kind of becomes inconsequential, and without saying what it is, there is a pretty big bombshell in regards to the family drama that's dropped near the end, but they don't ever pay it off, it's just kind of said and then brushed over. And I'm like, we're not going to dwell on that, we're not going to milk that for any more drama, we're just going to say it and then move on? Okay, weird choice. But in regards to the plot, it seems like it's the family drama and the medical drama kind of fighting back and forth with each other, and then every now and then it's chopped up by random horror elements. And for the first two acts, it doesn't really feel like the movie's gaining in scale or picking up or building into anything. It kind of just feels like it's at one note and kind of bouncing around in that one space. Obviously, towards the third act, the characters start to figure out what they need to do, and we get a fun enough action sequence. As I said, the kills and the horror stuff, it's fine, we get some fun moments, but it never really crescendos, and it never gets too over the top. If this did push it farther, I could see it becoming more of a cult classic. As it stands though, a fine enough direct-to-video horror movie from the mid-90s. Some interesting new ideas here, and hey, Naomi Watts and Karen Black really do punch the thing up a bit. So overall, Children of the Corn 4 is alright. I mean, not the best thing ever or anything, but a fun little watch, and for a series that goes on as long as Children of the Corn does, I'm sure we have much worse entries in our future. And we'll get on to part 5 pretty soon. That being said, what did you guys think of this movie? Did you like it? Did you not? Have you seen all the Children of the Corn sequels? Which ones are your favorite? Let me know your opinions down below. And of course, to everyone who's liked and subscribed, thank you. You really are helping the channel out. I'll put my Children of the Corn playlist here if you guys want to see more. I've covered the first 3 movies and you can see them there. Anyway, have a good day. I'll see you guys again very, very soon. Playlist here. Have a good day now.